Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rich Bowers, and today I have two amazing guests, Sydney, who you're familiar with, and Amber. Amber is a technical trainer who specializes in AWS. Good afternoon. How are you two doing today?
Good afternoon. I'm doing good. I have my Jump hoodie. I have my podcast merchandise for this episode.
I'm glad you're wearing it. And Amber, how about yourself?
Super cool merch, but I'm sure Sydney is going to tell me where to purchase this awesome gear. But we're doing great here.
Excellent. And I'll tell you what, this segues perfectly. You want this awesome gear? Drones can deliver it. I don't know about you two and everybody listening, but ever since I came back from the holiday break, there has been news on every area I look about drones and how the Federal Aviation Administration provided an exception regulation for commercial drones. So, Sydney, I know this is something that you've been looking into for a while. Can you tell me what this means and what happened here?
Yeah, so one of the head companies in drone delivery services, Wing, got the green light from the Federal Aviation Administration that they are going to be able to basically sell their products to different companies like Amazon and Walmart, and they will be able to fly these drones beyond the visual line of sight, which means that they can go miles and deliver different products.
Cool. Very cool. And now this will be impacting companies like Amazon, Walmart, our traditional retail ones that we're thinking of. Anything else?
Yep. So Starbucks is in the line. So I've heard, and then also medical services. So you will be able to be in different emergency situations if you need different medical products. The drone can fly those different things to your house or to hospitals just to make sure it's efficient and quicker.
Cool. And not quite as important, but Chick-fil-A as well. And maybe
Oh,
sometimes
yes.
as important, depending on who you ask. So talk to us about that beyond the visual line of sight. That's what the restrictions were previously, right? Where they weren't permitted to fly literally outside of someone's point of view or sight. Is that how that worked?
Exactly. Yes. So before the fall, before they did get this green light, they were only able to fly the drones to where you could visually see them in the sky, and now that doesn't matter. You can go beyond the visual sight, which is kind of crazy.
That is. And it sounds like they were just using spotters that would allow them to progress longer distances, but you have to hire somebody to keep an eye out on that. So talking about pros and cons, I think we can think of a lot of pros off the top of our head, right? Fast delivery, exactly what I want in an instant. What are some cons that we may come across that maybe we're not even thinking of right now?
Yeah, so this was the first thing I thought about. And, they're still in the process of figuring out how to deal with these cons, but risk of defects is a big one. So there could be messing up corporate logistics, possibly increasing costs. Like, is this actually going to be cost efficient? Because drones are likely to crash or just glitch. Theft risks. So, when these drones do fly in these private yards, or, are people going to steal them? And also privacy concerns, of course. That was the first one, because the drones are flying in people's private yards. So I'm sure, people are going to be able to approve of these things, if they want to actually use this service and allow these drones into their yard. So I feel like we can get past that one. But the cons were interesting.
Yeah. And I wonder, what the breakdown is in terms of getting more trucks off the roads, less accidents in
Yep.
comparison to all these drone crashes. So with that in mind, it seems like everybody's pushing for it. Are we
Yep.
envisioning 2024 to be the year that this explodes into normalcy?
Yeah, apparently this is going to be the big year, because the laws have changed, and it's going to be interesting because I do think they still have a lot to work out, but we'll see how fast that they can get past the defects and these different risks. But 2024 is going to be the big year.
Wow. And by the way, in case you're curious, the most popular delivery right now is coffee. So if you need coffee before the start of any meeting, it can come your way 100 feet in the air, 150 feet in the air, 65 miles per hour. Thank you all for that, Sydney. Right. I'm not surprised either. We need our coffee.
Yep.
So, Amber, jumping over to something maybe a little more technical, depending on how you want to look at it. A $5 billion lawsuit over Google's Incognito mode just reached a settlement. Can you tell us the details about what happened there and why is this important?
Sure, let's talk about it. So, consumers felt, or consumers and attorneys felt, that the wool was slightly pulled over people's eyes when they're browsing incognito, thinking that their information is private and it's not being shared or collected by any third company parties, include Google. And apparently, this wasn't the case. It was found that there were wealths of data that were being collected off of incognito mode. And although there's a disclaimer on incognito, I think perhaps it was overlooked and maybe not fully understood by consumers when they're browsing incognito.
And thank you for sharing that. And so they come to a settlement. Everybody kind of lines up for them because one of the things I think that they were highlighting was that in the search and browse privately section, the help page, it actually says that you're in control of what you share with Google. However, on the other side of the coin, Google said they never made any such promises as not using their data. So if they are kind of confident that they never made such promises, why is Google settling? Why do you think Google's settling in this case?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons that go into that, and maybe it's one or the other, or maybe it's a combination of them both. But Google took a little bit of accountability here and said, hey, well, while we did present this disclaimer to consumers, perhaps it wasn't as black and white as we hoped it would be, and maybe there's some gray area for misinterpretation. And so they took a piece of or chunk of accountability there. Also, I think the settlement, rather than going full out to trial, also places a little bit of accountability back onto consumers as well. Like, hey, you have to do your due diligence. You should know that everything you do on the internet is kind of public. While it may not be public to other users on your network, it is definitely going to be public access.
It makes sense. And more disclaimers, and it kind of falls on us users to kind of read through legal jargon or hidden phrases to some extent. I really wonder, what do you think will come out of this? Will it be something that maybe, these disclaimers have to be even more obvious? Do you think the mode will be affected overall? What are your thoughts there?
So I don't think the mode itself is going to be affected, but Google has already come out with a tailored version of this incognito disclaimer that emphasizes that, hey, Google itself can and will track this information. So there's no more gray area. It's black and white. So if you misinterpret, then, the question is,
it's on us, right?
Yeah.
It's on us then. And to make it clear for everybody what that change was, I'll read it to you. They just put this up, I believe it was yesterday, without any public announcement that they did, by the way. Others who use this device won't see your activity, so you can browse more privately. This won't change how data is collected by websites you visit and the services you use, including Google, right? So that is the new disclaimer that they have on up. For all of us to be really aware of. Do you see this happening to other companies as well that maybe have super long terms of services, anything like that? Do you see that coming anytime soon?
Of course, that's always a possibility or option on the table. If you see one get a slap on the wrist, then, everybody kind of wants to follow in line. But the problem is, more often than not, how often do consumers actually read these terms of service? And if we're laying it out there, are they actually reading this information? So
you got it. And if you hit accept, you're locked in, I guess. Right. So super interesting. I appreciate you breaking that down for us. I know I saw it everywhere. And I was happy to hear what you had to say. So thank you for that. Amber, wonderful job. Sydney, thank you for your time. And for The Jump, I'm Rich Bowers. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you.
thanks.
Bye-bye.